Good morning, my name is Josh from CyclonesOZ, and today another detailed forecast update coming your way. We're going to be talking about some heavy to intense rainfall across Tasmania, showers and storms across Victoria, New South Wales and South Australia, record-breaking heat across Queensland and parts of Central Australia, and we'll also touch on some tropical rainfall as well. All of that plus more coming up in today's weather forecast. If you are brand new to the channel, please do consider subscribing and also leave a like on the video. Your support is greatly appreciated. So we're going to start things off over in the southeast of the nation before we talk about some more tropical and summer-based weather. Over in Tasmania and Victoria, we do have a week of winter weather that's going to be blowing through from this afternoon onwards. There are severe weather warnings in place right now for damaging, locally destructive winds across many parts of Tasmania and also parts of Victoria, especially into the highlands. Victoria winds already approaching gale force up at Kilmore Gap, 59 kilometres an hour, and then parts of the highlands, Mount Buller and Mount Hotham, up towards 50 kilometre an hour sustained winds. But it's Tasmania, the runaway leader once again. You can see peak winds here over at Gaffs Hill, gusting to 115 kilometres an hour. Very strong winds across a lot of the interior parts of Tasmania as well, with winds gusting in excess of 100 kilometres an hour, and that is nothing in what is coming through over the next week or so, especially in terms of rainfall. So the first cold front is going to blow through later tonight with the potential for heavy falls up to 60 millimetres around Strathgordon and some of the southwestern corners of Tasmania. The heavy rainfall will continue later into tonight into early tomorrow morning, which will then turn into snowfall for areas above 1,000 metres of elevation as this Arctic pool of air blows up from the south and impacts the entire island state. You can see rainfall expected across much of Tasmania, snowfall as well expected across much of Tasmania right through tomorrow into tomorrow evening and even in towards Thursday morning as well, with the showers and snow continuing through Thursday. We're also expecting some showers and the isolated pocket of snow as well Wednesday night, Thursday morning across the high peaks of Victoria and into New South Wales. Only a couple of millimetres there and only a couple of millimetres of centimetres of snow expected as well. Hardly any of it will settle except for the really high peaks, but it's Tasmania that is once again the runaway leader in terms of all of this winter weather. Another strong cold front is going to sweep up from the south Thursday night into Friday morning, bringing heavy falls once again to the high peaks of Tasmania. You can see the heavy rainfall pipes up early Friday morning. It'll be too warm for snow, but that snow will set in later Friday morning and into early Friday afternoon. And then that Arctic air pool that sweeps up again Friday night into Saturday morning, ready for the weekend. That's just going to bring snow to like a huge swathe of Tasmania, basically. And yeah, we'll probably be seeing snow down to about 600 or 700 metres there. Very low-lying elevations could be receiving snow. And some heavy rainfall once again on Friday night and into Saturday morning. And to the 9 a.m. on Saturday, I wouldn't be surprised if locations such as Mount Reid or Strathgordon picked up over 60 millimetres of rainfall from this weather event until at least later on this weekend and into early next week from the numerous cold fronts and shower pools that are going to be battering Tasmania. I would not be surprised if by Monday the 2nd of September there'd been places that had picked up 350 or 400 millimetres of rainfall and maybe even up towards 50 or 60 centimetres of snowfall as well, just from all of this winter weather that's blowing through. It certainly is going to be something, that's for sure. A lot of winter weather inbound here. A lot of significant severe weather as well is expected, and we can't be ignoring the wind threat from this system as well. Take a look at the sustained winds right now across big swathes of Tasmania. They are just offshore from the coast at least, approaching or in excess of gale force up to 70 kilometres an hour, but the gusts are really strong, especially down towards the south. Gusts up towards 115, 120 kilometres an hour even in places. The winds will continue right throughout today. They will actually be at their worst at around 8 or 9 p.m. local time tonight, especially for locations around Strawn, that area. Severe weather warnings have also been raised across Victoria and New South Wales for wind gusts across the high peaks expected above 110 or 115 kilometres an hour, potentially even stronger later tonight as well. Blizzard conditions are expected across the high peaks later on tonight and into early tomorrow morning. Those winds are going to remain very strong through the Bass Strait as well. This is going to be one of the strongest cold fronts of the winter season for parts of Tasmania and Victoria, and that's also going to be leading to monster waves through the Bass Strait as well. In the Bass Strait itself, I would not be surprised if that Tasmania ferry between Melbourne and Devonport got cancelled. I forget the name of it. Waves in the Bass Strait expected to be in excess of 7 or 8 metres. That's above 20 feet. But waves outside of the Bass Strait, take a look at this, monstrous, up towards 30 feet high and increasing throughout the day. The west coast of Tasmania is going to get slammed by these waves, and that's going to lead to some very significant coastal erosion for exposed coastal locations, especially around Low Rocky Point. Those areas tend to get slammed later into Wednesday night and into Thursday morning. This is some severe weather if I've ever seen it. This is going to be the strongest cold front of the year by the looks of things for for Tasmania. Very significant, very strong indeed. It goes without saying, shore-based, boating-based activities absolutely off the cards from right now through to about, I'm going to say Monday or Tuesday next week, just to be on the safe side. Huge amounts of rainfall expected, vast quantities of snowfall expected, massive amounts of wind also expected as well across the high peaks of Tasmania. And yeah, just talking about this rainfall accumulation here throughout the rest of today and into tomorrow morning, once this cold front has passed through by around Thursday, we're looking at rainfall accumulations in excess of 70 or 80 millimetres and maybe one or two pockets above 100 millimetres across the south part of Tasmania. Very high accumulations indeed, but these just blow out even further once you talk about it for the next week or so, including right out towards Monday the 2nd of September, peak accumulations, which is just in the next week expected to be above 200 millimetres over a wide swathe of the highlands of Tasmania, especially around Rosebery and Queenstown. Mount Reid I expect to be one of the wettest locations as well across Tasmania. Some huge amounts of rainfall is possible there. The Axis G3 calling for even more rainfall in excess of 300 millimetres. Now this is massive amounts of rainfall, and I know Tasmania is classed as a rainforest in this part, and 300 millimetres for a rainforest is not too much, but it is enough for the Bureau of Meteorology to have raised flood watches for a lot of Tasmania. In fact, I believe it's for the whole state, so I would not be surprised if we saw moderate to major riverine flooding start developing from about Wednesday night into Thursday morning. This is going to be a very significant weather system for Tasmania. Like I said, the strongest cold front, or cold series of cold fronts for the year. The strongest cold front is likely to come through tonight, but yeah, this is certainly going to be a weather system, that's for sure. It does happen every year across a lot of Tasmania. They get slammed by these weather systems every single year, but this one certainly does look to be more stronger than the average. Again, up to a metre of snow is expected. I think this forecast is very bullish, especially considering the time of the year. A metre of snow is basically unheard of across the high peaks of Tasmania. I wouldn't be surprised if a metre of snow fell over the coming week, but I reckon accumulations will only be between 40 and 50 centimetres across the majority of the high peaks. But again, some very significant snowfall accumulations are possible, and like I said, in elevations that typically don't receive that much snow, I wouldn't be surprised if flurries were falling down towards about 600 or 700 metres, especially Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and then probably again, I believe, Saturday night into Sunday morning is when the snow is likely once again. But yeah, some pretty big accumulations are possible, and this snow line really heading quite far north, with snow showers expected over the open ocean as well as far north as about the latitude of Hobart. So you can just see how much cold air this weather system is going to be dragging up behind it. It is a very, very strong winter system, that's for sure, that's going to be sweeping through tonight. Yeah, certainly one in 1 year sort of weather event. If that doesn't hammer at home how severe it is enough, I'm not sure what will, but if you've got specific questions for your location, then please do let me know in the comment section down below. If you've got any questions or comments about the severe weather warnings or how to prepare for a weather system like this, then please let me know in the comment section down below. This is Tasmania. They are built for it, especially on the west coast, but like I said, this is a very strong cold front that's coming through. I know there's probably going to be a smartass in the comments that says something like, oh, winter weather in Tasmania, how funny is that? Or nothing that Tasmania's ever seen before, isn't that right? Well, yeah, that is true. However, again, the job here is to hammer home how important this severe weather, or taking this severe weather seriously is, and yeah, you do need to take a front like this seriously, because if you do, you'll be completely fine. Again, just make sure you are staying safe, you're not driving around, you're not going out anywhere near the water with those waves that are coming through, you're not hiking or doing outdoor-based activities for the next week or so, especially in these severe weather warning areas, because the weather is going to get very nasty indeed. Now, I bet everyone watching is shivering, so let's just break things up temporarily and talk about the record heat that's extended across Central Australia, in stark contrast to the winter weather that's impacting Tasmania. Western Australia copped 41 degrees Celsius days yesterday, just outside of Derby up at Yampi Sound, the defence base up there, 41.4 degrees as a maximum. The hottest winter day on record for anywhere around Australia, very warm indeed. Oodnadatta as well has shattered the South Australian heat record by about 3 degrees, with some more hot weather on the cards. You can see daytime maximas today into the mid-30s across parts of Queensland, South Australia, not Alice Springs, rather, the Northern Territory, and then to high 30s or low 40s across the northern parts of Western Australia, around Fitzroy Crossing and Roebuck in particular, and then warm temperatures as well into the northern parts of the Northern Territory, outside Katherine and Tyndall, up towards 38 degrees Celsius there. Very warm indeed. It is going to be a little bit cooler over the coming couple of days. Wednesday and Thursday will only be into the mid-30s across parts of Central Australia before another cold front sweeps up again and impacts Western Australia on Thursday and drags a bunch of hot weather down across South Australia, with temperatures above 36 or 37 expected on Thursday for areas around Oodnadatta, Coober Pedy and Minturpee. Another very hot Winter's Day expected on Friday, with temperatures up towards 40 degrees outside of Birdsville and in parts of the southwestern corner of Queensland. Very warm indeed. Northern New South Wales as well, expecting temperatures to soar up towards 37 degrees Celsius around Teabura. So I reckon Friday, New South Wales might be in for one of its warmest winter days on record. Thursday and Friday as well looking pretty warm for the Gold Coast and the Sunshine Coast, up to 35 degrees Celsius for pockets there. And the entire New South Wales coastline down to about Sydney, expecting temperatures into at least the high 20s, if not the early 30s for some places, before that winter weather kicks up once again on Saturday and brings a little bit of cool into parts of southern New South Wales. Still going to be very warm across a big swathe of Queensland, but this is it. This is the start of summer. This is the start of those summer temperatures that are starting to creep down to a line of about the Queensland-New South Wales border. It's starting to get very warm across the tropics, and it's going to continue warming up from here on now. Of course, there still will be cool days and cool nights, but we're looking mid to high 30s from here on out for the next 6 or 7 months for big swathes of Central Australia. Again, into early next week from another cold front, up to 40 degrees Celsius across parts of South Australia to start off September. A very warm start to September by the looks of things. Temperatures up to 40 degrees Celsius again next Wednesday, and very warm once again on Thursday. The warm weather is in, and it is here to stay now for pretty much everywhere apart from the southwest corner of Western Australia, parts of South Australia, the majority of Victoria, parts of New South Wales and Tasmania. Just those winter weather states or winter weather locations. Everywhere else, it looks like that hot weather is in, and it is here to stay from now on. It's only going to be a matter of weeks and maybe up to a month for the remainder of Australia to start cooking under what's going to be a fairly warm summer. And more on that is going to be coming in later on in the video, so make sure you do stick around for a special announcement then. But yeah, very warm indeed across Central Australia. It's going to be warm overnight as well, with temperatures not going below 20 for some of these locations, so make sure you do crank that air conditioner up and make sure that it is working. Get that fan ready because it is going to be a hot one. We'll just touch on far north Queensland real quick and talk about some tropical rainfall for northern Queensland. You can see rainfall extending right up towards Thursday Island from an onshore flow. Showers expected throughout the course of today, which could amount up towards 30 millimetres for some locations. Showers also possible Wednesday afternoon, tomorrow afternoon, and into early Thursday morning for parts of the Daintree. They're expecting up to 70 millimetres of rainfall over the next 4 days, so some decent rainfall is possible there. Rainfall will have a little bit of a break Friday and Saturday across far north Queensland. It will pipe up again by the looks of things early next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. Looks like a fairly wet start to September, and it looks like that northern rainfall onset will happen just within the first couple of days of September for parts of far northern Queensland. So again, this is very much getting close into the wet season. I'm getting very excited for this. Once again, stay tuned for the end of the video for a very special announcement about the wet season. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be quite wet across parts of far north Queensland to start off September, with some heavy falls possible there. In terms of rainfall over the next 4 days, like I have said, accumulations up to 30 or 40 millimetres possible across widespread swathes around Lockhart River and Moomba in far north Queensland. The Daintree expecting up towards 40 or 50 millimetres. Again, accumulations can blow out pretty significantly there, so I would not write off up to 70 millimetres of rainfall there. And some good accumulations also possible into the later parts of next, or the early parts rather, of next week across the far north of Queensland to kick off September, with accumulations expected to be as high as 30 or 40 millimetres across a pretty big swathe of far north Queensland. Again, we will keep a very close eye on the forecast here. That still looks a little bit uncertain to me at this time, but again, we will just wait and see. That tropical rainfall, it looks like it's in, and it looks like it's going to be here to stay for parts of far north Queensland, with some good falls expected over the next 10 days. In terms of tropical rainfall, that's basically it for Northern Australia. You know I'm really reaching for this. There's not much for the Northern Territory, not much for Northern Western Australia, but you don't expect it for this time of the year. We're just going to break up the tropical forecast and head back down to the southwest and talk about some winter weather that's just blown through. You might have been able to hear at the start of the narration, with a band of showers moving through across the south, or the southern suburbs of Perth, from a cold front that has just brushed up from the south. Showers will continue throughout the early morning hours and into early this afternoon, but they will clear out by this evening, and it looks like a return to the cool, calm, dry conditions throughout Wednesday, before another cold front sweeps up again on Thursday, bringing a few more showers and potentially up to 10 millimetres of rainfall on Thursday. But again, I would just like to make a really big point here. It looks like these cold fronts are really slowing down. There's no cold front activity between Thursday and what looks to be next Wednesday next week, so the cold fronts are becoming a lot fewer, a lot weaker, and a lot further between by the looks of things, and again, really limited in the way of how much rainfall rainfall they're expected, there's going to be hardly any rainfall over the next 10 days. You can see it here on the peak accumulation map over the next 10 days, with accumulations between sort of about 10 to 15 millimeters being the norm across the coast. Some pockets will pick up between 20 and 30 millimeters across the hills. I wouldn't be surprised if the front today delivered 10 millimeters out towards Mundaring, that sort of area, and again up towards 30 millimeters along the south coastal regions. But the rainfall now for the southwest really starting to clear out, and this is the sharp, quick end to winter that I'm expecting. I reckon it's going to take another 2 weeks of the rainfall to really clear out of Western Australia before those fronts become quite rare, maybe once every 10 days or once every 2 weeks even, and they'll be very weak at that point. And I think our first 30-degree day for Perth, at least, and parts of the southwest will probably be in sometime mid to late September, definitely before October. But just looking at how this hot weather is spreading across the northern parts and the central parts of Australia, I would not be surprised if the hot weather was going to enter into the southwest corner of Western Australia sometime into the later parts of September. You can already start to see temperatures above 20 degrees Celsius being the norm, and I know that's pretty cool, but 20 degrees Celsius being the norm quite far south by the early to the middle parts of next week. Yeah, you can see temperatures into the wheat belt above 20 degrees Celsius for the first time in quite a while into the early parts of next week. So things are certainly starting to warm up across Western Australia. It looks like winter is really starting to clear out at this time, and like I said, short, sharp, quick winter, and it's going to be a sharp end to it by the looks of things. Any questions or comments about this weather forecast, please do let me know in the comment section down below. I'll try and get back to as many people as I can throughout the course of today. Your support lately has been greatly appreciated, and I've got a very special announcement. September 1st, and the long-awaited summer weather forecast, the wet season of 2024-25, will be releasing, and then I'll be releasing another one on October 1st as well, but the preliminary forecast will be coming out on September 1st at 8 a.m, so make sure you are subscribed, make sure you have your notifications set to all, so you do not miss that video. It's going to be a really good one indeed. But that is all from me today. Thank you so much for watching the video to this point. A special shout out to the channel sponsors. Their names are on screen right now. I could not run this show without them, and their support is greatly appreciated. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing for the reasons that I have just said. And that is all from me today, and I'll catch you all in the next storm. Goodbye.